Yo guys, in my last video I talked about all of the more recent books I want to read in 2020, and today I'm going to talk about all of the classic books I want to read in 2020. So I've tried to order these kind of like highest priority to lowest priority, but I don't know, we'll just see how it goes. So first of all, the books I've had on my TBR since literally like the start of 2019. Peter Pan and Wendy by J.M. Barrie. I've always wanted to read this just because I really am a big fan of, the Disney movie and stuff. And I've heard that it's quite different and actually kind of darker, so that really interests me. Emma by Jane Austen has always been on my TBR as well. However, it's very thick, which has put me off, which is why I ended up reading Pride and Prejudice first, because it was slightly shorter. But I decently enjoyed Pride and Prejudice, so Emma is definitely a top priority still. Fahrenheit 451 is like a kind of dystopian type book, I'm sure, about a world where like books are banned, maybe? I don't know. It's by Ray Bradbury, and this was a very high priority for me at the start of this year. However, I kept getting told it was very similar to 1984, but harder? Not harder. I don't know the word. But anyway, and then 1984 for me, I enjoyed the plot, but I didn't really love the writing. I don't know. It's been a while since I read it. So anyway, once I read 1984 and didn't love it, Fahrenheit 451 kind of dropped down for me. But I definitely still want to read it. Animal Farm by George Orwell is, again, I don't know why I haven't read this. It's so short. Like, I just need to get it done. It's been on my TBR since like January, and that's just about like farms and but it's like an allegory for society. I don't even know. These books have been on my TBR since like January, like I said, so I haven't refreshed my brain. Dracula by Bram Stoker. I own this. I was about to read it in April, and for some reason I just didn't. And then in October this year, everyone was reading it for like Halloween, and everyone for the most part was saying they loved it, so I just need to finally get this read. Next we have Bronte sister books. If you know me, you'd know that Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights were my favourite books I've read this year, and two of my favourite books like overall. So I really want to read more Bronte books. So I have Emma by Charlotte Bronte. Is that right? Did Jane Austen and Charlotte Bronte both have books called Emma? I need to check this out. Okay, I just looked this up and it is a book, but it was incomplete and it's been completed by someone else. So never mind, I'm not interested in that. I don't know where I got that from. But anyway, The Tenant of Windfell Hall by Anne Bronte. I own this. It's in my house. I need to just read it. And Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte as well. I don't even know what that one's about, but I just need to read it. Tenant of Windfell Hall is very similar to Jane Eyre and stuff, where it's about like governesses and like schools and I don't know, things like that. So now we have books that are not as high a priority, but I still want to read them in 2020, and they're in kind of an order. So I have The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, and I've actually read one of these. I'm not sure which one, but I read one of them back in high school, maybe like fourth year or so. I was like 16, so like 5 years ago. So I own these as well, like I have them in my house, so I really want to get to them. These are just classic books about young boys discovering the world, and they have an adventure. They have adventures, and it deals with like racism, and it was a very important book for its time and portraying black men as like good people, I believe. Honestly, don't quote me on anything that I say in this video, but that's, as far as I know, that's what it's about. Mark Twain was a very like prominent supporter of civil rights and abolition of slavery, I believe. So I really want to read these again because it's been a while. Then I have Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. Honestly, don't know what this is about, but again, I really like Pride and Prejudice, and this was I think this was our follow-up after that, so that would be really interesting to read. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. This is like very, very popular again recently because the sequel came out, obviously. And I've heard mixed things about the sequel, but I really want to read The Handmaid's Tale because it is just a classic book about oppression and society. And yeah, I just think it sounds kind of fun. So Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. I don't actually know what this is about, but Virginia Woolf as a person really interests me, and I just really want to read some of her work because I haven't read anything by her, but I know some stuff about her and she seems like a really good person. I believe she was like a big feminist. Again, don't quote me. But yeah, and Mrs. Dalloway is a short story, so this should be quite easy to read. I have The Turn of the Screw by Henry James next, and this, I only added this to my TBR in November, yeah, last month, because everyone was reading it again at Halloween, and apparently it's like really, really difficult, and I just kind of want to read it to test myself. It's just like a classic horror book about ghosts, I believe, but apparently the language is really difficult, and I just want to kind of try and test myself and see if I can read it or not, because I do read quite a lot of classics, but comprehension wise I think I do quite well, but again, there's sometimes like you have to read the paragraph like 3 times to get it, so I just think it'd be kind of interesting to test myself and see if I understand what's going on. The Call of, it's up there, I don't know how you say it, by H.P. Lovecraft is again just a classic horror story. It's a short story, I believe, and I only have this on because I haven't read any H.P. Lovecraft, and he is like a very, very famous writer for the horror genre. Like, he is an inspiration for a lot of horror authors, and I just really want to see kind of like the roots of some of the horror stuff that we see today. The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank is next, and I own this as well. I have read this a couple times when I was very young. I don't know why I was reading The Diary of Anne Frank when I was like young, but I remember reading this when I was like 6 or 7 years old, and again maybe like when I was like 13. So I just want to revisit it. It's obviously a very inspirational and like heartbreaking story about a young girl, Jewish, in World War II, and her family hiding from the Nazis. And I don't know, I just think it's a really important story that we should not forget. Catch-22 by Joseph Heeler is next, and this is quite low down my list because I tried to read this year, back in February I think it was, and I actually DNF'd it because I just could not get into the writing style. But I want to give it another chance because it's my dad's favourite book, so I just want to try again and try and push myself through. I just wasn't that interested the first time as well, so like not liking the writing style plus not really being that interested in the plot was a bad combination. But I think if I try again, because I kind of know what to expect this time, that I will do well. So Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens is my second last book, and I don't know why this is so low. I think it's just because I kind of know the story, so it's not that big a priority to me. But again, I really liked Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, so I want to read more of his work. And then finally, the last book I have is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and this is only so low because I don't really want to read it until next December. So it's like last on my list because it's probably going to be the last book I read in 2020, or the last classic anyway. So that was my list. It's quite a long list, and please let me know if you've read any of these books below, especially the ones near the start that I'm more anticipating, because those will definitely be getting read in the next couple months. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, you know, the usual stuff. I'm right under 400 subscribers now. I'm like 398, I think, last time I checked. So yeah, please get me to 400, and I will see you later. Bye.